Live from the KIGU studios in beautiful Ogasawara, this is the Monster Island Film Vault, bonus episode 14. I was at ZillaFoot, featuring Daniel DiManna and Elijah Thomas. Hello, Kaiju lovers, and welcome to the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. I am your host, the media master on Monster Island, Nate Marchand, but unfortunately, I still don't have my intrepid producer back. Okay, fine. If I understand you correctly, you just complained that you two are intrepid, fine, but I would still like to have Mr. from NASA back at this point. Hey, don't get mad at me, all right? I'll send you a job evaluation at the end of the day. Fine. Sure thing. But anyway, interestingly, I do have two guests here with me, but they are not live in the studio. They are, in fact, live from the sets of the movie they were in. Yes, this is going to be a first. I'm actually talking to people who are in the movie that we're talking about. I don't know if that's an honor or not in this case. So two of the stars of this movie, the author and creator of the Godzilla Novelization Project, Daniel DiManna, and the co-host of Kaiju Conversation, the littlest of gatekeepers, and quote-unquote Skywatcher number 2, Elijah Thomas.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? I will be signing autographs remotely after the show, so if you want to stick around, that would be great.
Well, I do want you to sign my Blu-ray copy of this.
Well, mail it to me at your expense and throw a couple of extra, Abe Lincolns in there, for the drinking money. And I'll get that sent right out to you. You know what I mean?
Right. How about we just stick with, I'll see you at G-Fest or whenever I have you back on the island again or something.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Sorry I couldn't make it there this time, man.
Yeah, but you're coming to us live from, like I said, the set of the movies.
It's true. Which makes for great radio, frankly, that I am broadcasting from one of the actual sets used in the hit motion picture ZillaFoot that we are about to talk about. There you go.
The award-winning movie.
Really?
ZillaFoot.
I was not aware of the what award did it get?
Best monster movie according to monstermovie.com/.org https://gov.
So the Razzies got
it. That bastion of quality assurance right there. That's all you need to know, folks. That's really all you need to know. Seal of approval, about as official as you can get, right there.
Yeah. This is actually a movie of firsts. It's a movie of firsts. It's our first SRS movie. It's our first indie movie, and which is funny because it is still technically part of America. Amerikaiju. I suddenly feel like I shouldn't have done that.
We all feel like you shouldn't have done that, Nate.
I was thinking it the whole time.
It's freaking ZillaFoot.
Hey, now, hold on.
What's wrong with ZillaFoot?
Hold on. That's unfair. That's unfair.
Danny, Danny, I was thinking about this. I've had you on quite a bit on the show, and I think at least half of the episodes that you've been on have been for some of the worst movies I have ever covered on the show.
Hey, now. Mothra versus Godzilla would like to have a
word
no.
That's a masterpiece.
2005 would like to have a word with you, sir.
Well, I said some of the worst. I didn't say they were terrible. But, Super Monster, the infamous Yeti.
What's wrong with Yeti? It's
there are two things that are wrong with Yeti. Two very specific things. I'll let you figure out what those two things are. Or they're very right, depending on your
They are extremely right.
No, I'm not getting into
beautiful.
You
Elijah?
Hey, Elijah, you might have a point. Get it?
I
I earned that. I earned the wah-wah, and it will not be my last.
Elijah, you're scaring me. I'm just saying.
When have I never?
Stop with the staring.
You know what? Maybe this
Stop peering into my soul.
This whole remote hosting thing is definitely opening itself up for some interesting possibilities to freak Nate out. I think we should just listeners on the island and elsewhere. You can't see it right now, but yeah, we're able to stare directly into Nate's soul. No Jimmy this time though.
Yeah. No, you get Jet.
Hey, Jet, what's up? Again, I wish I was there to actually talk to him in person, but...
Can you actually understand Jet speak? Because I'm still working on it, and I have Jimmy's manual.
I have a kind of rudimentary understanding of Jet speech. I can't really... I wouldn't say I could hold a conversation in Jet speech, but I can understand enough to, navigate from the airport to the hotel,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But what about you, Elijah?
I just nod my head and say yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Mr. Jaguar. Absolutely.
Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah, we're enunciating like a Hong Kong expatriate, I can tell.
Yes. Mr. Jet Jaguar.
Yes.
Call him Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar.
Yeah.
Jet Jaguar.
Yeah.
How does he feel about? Does he have I don't want to mess it up. Does he have a preferred pronunciation of his name? Jaguar, Jaguar, Jaga. Does he... Okay, fair enough. Then that's what I'll call you, man. Fair enough.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's not my usual pronunciation, but I guess you'll just have to live with it. Yeah. Hey, don't you get snippy with me.
No need for that, man.
Yes.
No need for that. We're all here. We are all here to talk about
something.
Peak cinema.
Yes.
Peak cinema. Yes. This is peak. Someone call Scorsese. We found peak cinema.
There. Yeah. Oh, you fished your copy out of the film vault, and you're waving it around to the podcast listeners. Nice. Good radio.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of had to.
Yes.
I had to watch this in preparation. I'm sure Ron will appreciate everything we have to say in this episode. So.
Did you hear Elijah's question?
What?
Did you watch it on VHS?
No, I did not.
How dare you call yourself a ZillaFoot fan, my friend?
I never claimed to be a ZillaFoot fan.
You are not a ZillaFooter.
A ZillaFooter.
That is what we call ourselves.
Yes.
Nathan.
Well, you know what's funny? I'm not kidding you. You were in ZillaFoot, but there's actually a Monster of the Week in Power Rangers named Footzilla.
Opposite day. Nice.
Now, is that a giant foot?
Yes.
Nice. How big's its big toe?
About the size of your fat head.
Wow. Why did that get a rim shot? That you don't rim shot for insults that aren't puns, Marchin. Yeah, that's better.
Jet, you traitor.
Listen, you have a celebrity, dare I say, two of them in your midst, good sir.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. Yeah.
I'm going to have Ron revoke all your shipping rights for SRS titles.
Listen, we can blackball
you know what? I already own basically all of the Kaiju titles that Ron has already released.
They're going to make more.
I know they're making more. And you guys were in the second worst one.
Oh, now first of all, that's cruel, and second of all, Elijah.
Well, no. Okay, that was cruel. I take it back.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, God Raiga is awful.
Oh, poor Hayashiya-san.
And
also,
don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't even get me started on Conga TNT.
Oh come on! Conga TNT was fun. It was a pandemic era movie. It was.
We'll talk about that because I have questions because this is a no-budget indie film. Again, the first that we've had on the show. There's basically no information. You guys are my information. You are my research.
We are bringing you to on the inside track, my friend. We're gonna fill you in on all the gossip, all the juicy good stuff, all the juicy details. I don't know. I'm assuming. Now, listen. I was in this movie. Elijah was in this movie. Nate, as a viewer, I'm sure you have questions. We were in the film and we have questions. So if we can perhaps elucidate on some of those things and provide some context, provide a little bit, because we were on the set and currently actually are
on the set. Yes.
Yes, we are on our respective sets. Definitely let us know, because I have some info, and I know for a fact Elijah has info that I do not have. So we're going to tag team this and hopefully put ZillaFoot into some much needed context.
Especially since I've only ever heard one other podcast talk about this movie, and they were not nice, mostly because they probably didn't know what exactly went into it.
Well, we can fill you in a little bit on that.
Although they are friends with Ron Bonk, the head of SRS Cinema, which is
have they worked with Ron?
Not that I know of. So you have the advantage there. But since we're talking about Ron and SRS Cinema, and by the way, I should point out I forget, because this was been released on DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS, because SRS is cool like that. I forget, does it have the same cover as the Blu-ray for the VHS?
Yes. The VHS and Blu-ray have the same cover. The Blu-ray is obviously expanded out a little bit, and the DVD, which you can go right now, ladies and gentlemen, and get for like, I don't know, $1.50 on Amazon, or you can walk into Walmart's and purchase it. I think some Walmarts are still stocking it. It's got a different cover. It's got a very different cover.
Yeah, and that one is a lie, and it looks like a mockbuster. It looks like an asylum movie, but it's like even more flagrant.
Man!
In its rip-offness.
Wow, I think you're you're confusing flagrant with fragrant, because I smell good things coming off of that.
I'm sorry. I don't speak. I don't speak English.
Oh, hold on a second now. Hold on. We're not going there.
Oh, apparently not.
Elijah, are you looking up the price of ZillaFoot on Amazon?
Well, you said $1.50, so I was
it's like $6 or $7.
He's fact checking.
It's $13. It's $13.
Oh, that's
okay.
Below 10. Either way,
that is about $12 too many. Got it. Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh my. But since we're talking about that, we should talk. Okay, I will bring up the cover for the Blu-ray and VHS. This is a Matt Frank cover, correct?
No.
Nope.
I don't know who the artist is,
it's
but it is not. Yeah, it's Matt Frank-esque. They didn't have the budget for Matt Frank on this one.
Oh, I see. Even though Matt Frank's done several for them already. But anyway, since we're talking about that, we will loop in some hopefully epic and or humorous music, and I will read for you the plot synopsis on the back of the Blu-ray, because I feel like promoting SRS Cinema today, contractual obligations and all of that. Normally I'd write my own synopsis or let you gentlemen handle it, but you told me before going on the air that you're like, I don't know how to describe this movie, and I was in it.
This is true.
Yeah. So, according to the back of the box, cue the epic music.
Let's all stay positive and do some science.
Yes, sir.
A UFO lands on Earth, unleashing a giant monster, half lizard, half gorilla, ZillaFoot. The monster rampages, decimating any military response and even awakening a strange dinosaur. Now it's up to scientists and a final member of the famed Ultra Squad to face the new threats and save humanity in this epic kaiju homage to the Toho monsters and Tsuburaya heroes. So, that's relatively accurate.
Those are some things that happen in
the movie. Admittedly, this is not the best SRS kaiju back cover copy. That belongs to the ones that this one is slightly superior to. So
you're gonna have to do one of those tier list things of SRS
of SRS kaiju films.
I actually do have one somewhere.
Of course you do, Elijah.
Of course you do. So, this is a movie that exists. It was made for, I would say, approximately $20.
And that's our show. Good night, everyone. We hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
No, but
so you say, but I'm looking at my notes for this. They are about 2/3 questions.
That sounds
one of which is... So, is this in the same universe as Raiga, Reiko, Kanka, and Giant Teacher?
Okay.
Did they get permission for that footage? And Gappa. There's Gappa is in this too.
And if you pay attention to the opening credits, you will also see at least one god monster, a giant shark, and Oga from Lava Beast Oga. Or
yes.
Get up whatever the new title is they gave it. But
yeah, Raiga versus Oga, I think.
Yeah, okay. That's it.
Raiga versus King Oga.
King Oga.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, ZillaFoot is not on the island proper. He has been stashed away on the beta sites.
Okay, he's real too? I actually didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yes, apparently he is, but apparently it's just a case of somebody just brought him over and just dropped him. It's like, we don't know what to do with him. And the board was like, well, put him on the beta site. We don't know what to do with him. And he's an unholy abomination.
Ouch. He is the so you know how Ultra Monsters will have little subtitles, Subterranean Monster so and so.
Yeah.
This is Spirit Halloween Monster ZillaFoot.
Spirit Halloween.
No, there's a little more effort put into it than that. So for context for people out there who are listening who have not seen the film, the opening of the movie is a 1950s style narrated flashback that uses stock footage from, atomic bomb testing and some war footage. And then it mixes in a kind of, and then the monsters rose and destroyed cities. And SRS used footage from other movies that they have under license to release on home video. And now, truth be told, it seems like this was done because they had the rights. If you look at the credits, they thank Hayashiya-san for the Reigo and Raiga footage. They thank a couple of other people. So it seems that permission was granted from the actual creators where, like, in instances where permission could be granted, and at least they did seem to have the rights to do it. But it looks like they were doing it just so they could have monster footage for this flashback. But the implications are interesting, because if this movie could be saying that all of those other movies, like the Reigo and Raiga movies, there's footage from Attack of the Giant Teacher in there, which Elijah and I are both massive fans of that film.
Elijah is the Attack of the Giant Teacher stan.
Yes, as well he should be. That film is magical and wonderful, and everyone should see it.
Yes, also, that is top tier SRS released kaiju film right there. It's almost too good for SRS. Almost.
I love it. But for real, anybody who, this is not sarcasm at all. Like, anybody who hasn't seen Attack of the Giant Teacher from Yoshikazu Ishii, go watch that film. It's
right. Surprising.
Elijah, hang on. Question, Elijah. I might be crazy, but did I see Warning from Space footage mixed in?
I think you are. I don't recall seeing Warning from Space.
I might be crazy. I was on the lookout the last time I watched the film, but I might be. I don't know. I think the insanity was setting in within the first couple of seconds.
So how many times have you guys actually watched your own work here?
Twice.
Well,
twice.
I've seen the movie. I'm gonna say on a technicality 2.5 times, because I did watch the preliminary early version that ran about 50 minutes.
Okay, we'll need to talk about that, because this has a crazy origin.
So, from what I remember, the opening credits also feature monsters in an Ultraman-esque style opening title sequence. I'll explain that. So it's Reigo, Raiga, God Raiga versus King Oga, Attack of the Giant Teacher, and I think
Gappa.
I'm excluding Gappa right now because I'll explain why in a second. And I think that's all of the. Oh, and Konga TNT. Konga TNT.
I noticed that Howl from Beyond the Fog is not in this.
No, because Howl from Beyond the Fog was not returning their calls. Howl from Beyond the Fog was too busy
being too good for SRS.
Also, one of the silhouettes in the credits is a monster seafood wolf creature, so that's included as well. And there's a giant shark
from House Shark.
That it is House Shark. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I was wondering. Okay. Which is an Estonia movie, I believe.
It was a Ron Bonk film. Ron directed that one.
Okay, so SRS has a shared universe now?
So
SRS verse? Bonkaverse?
I've talked to Ron about this. So the version we're watching is meant to be a padded out movie.
No.
And they realized, hey, this would be cool if we included footage from other films we've done. So they reached out to all the filmmakers and got approval to include them, minus GAPPA. GAPPA is owned by Media Blasters, which I'm not going to talk about it, but let's just say there's some beef with the two companies. So I don't know how or why they included GAPPA, but if you notice, the GAPPA footage, while in HD, is in black and white. So I think they just used a small clip just because they thought, oh, this would be cool. And it's another misconception that because of Monster from the Prehistoric Planet is public domain, in air quotes, because it was an AI TV title, that it would be okay to use. But I'm pretty sure that's not the case. But
does Nikatsu even exist anymore?
Yes, Nikatsu is still one of Japan's largest film companies, I believe.
Okay, because I was going to say, if anyone would be going after them, it would be Nikatsu. But I don't know if Nikatsu cares.
They don't. They really don't.
So. Footage from the Monster from a Prehistoric Planet specific footage has been used arguably erroneously for decades.
It wouldn't be the first erroneously used monster movie footage. Looking at you, MST3K intro and like seasons 3 to whatever. I see that Godzilla drop kick. I see what you did there.
Can't stop them. They can't stop them.
But yeah, and when it comes to the SRS verse, is what I called it. He was like unofficially sure. We didn't really put too much thought into it. We just thought it'd be fun. So
yeah, I understand that. And it's not too far off to say that this is a homage, to say the least, to Toho and to Tsuburaya. And I can see the love. It's still incredibly weird, but I can see the love.
This is a very earnest film. You talk to its quality all you want, but it was obviously made by a bunch of goofballs that just wanted to go out and make something because they loved monster movies. And a fair chunk of it, the chunks that were produced later on that Elijah and I worked on, were done during, it wasn't like straight up inside the lockdowns, but it was still, kind of a COVID. Yeah. There's still kind of a COVID indie aspect to this, kind of a we just want to get together and do something fun, scrappiness, a pandemic scrappiness.
Yeah, it's not the movie. Conga TNT is the quarantine movie.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, but the theme song sounds very Afukabe, perilously close. Toho's lawyers are like, come on, just a little bit closer, just a little bit closer.
Just one key off. Come on.
We need to sue.
We really want to get you off his chair for everyone. We need the money.
Yeah, it's on par with Junkie XL's Godzilla vs. Kong theme.
It was giving me some Junkie XL vibes.
Yeah. And then we talked about the credits, and it does technically, I would argue, foreshadow the Toku hero.
It does.
Who shows up at the end? I'm a little confused on his name because they keep talking about the quote-unquote Ultra Squad, but I'm like, is Ultra Squad a team or is it the hero? He's
the commander. He's the commander of the Ultra Squad.
Okay, but they still call him Ultra Squad. What is his name? Who is this hero? I don't know. He just looks like one of the aliens. Is there aliens in this too? He just looks like one of the aliens in an orange spandex suit.
His name is Alan Smithy. He is a world champion knitter. He likes long walks on the beach and chocolate moose tracks ice cream.
You read more of his Twitter profile than most people will.
What Twitter profile?
I mean, not Twitter. I mean, Tinder. Excuse me. I killed my own joke. Dang it!
You did. Yes. Self-want all around. Yes. Anyway. So.
But yeah.
Opening credits.
So yeah, I'm trying to decide. I have gone on record as saying some of the other things that SRS has released in the kaiju department, I'm not sure qualify as movies. I'm trying to decide if this one qualifies. And I'm leaning toward yes, because the ones that this is slightly better than don't even really have a story. They are pure nonsense.
I just realized you've been talking about Super Monster Lizard Lord Dragon Monster the Galaxy Fight Ultra the movie. I honestly couldn't. I have
that and the sequel. Congratulations, you are in the third worst SRS release kaiju film.
Oh man.
When
is the Dragon Lizard Lord Monster episode?
I haven't watched Conga TNT yet, so
that's Canadian.
There may be a discussion later, but yeah. So anyway, I would say this counts as a movie, but it's so disjointed. It has like 5 subplots and a bunch of characters and no resolution. Spoiler warning, there is no resolution, and it's sequel baits. When are we getting the sequel?
Oh, he's thinking about
ZillaFoot 2. What was it? ZillaFoot 2.
Rise of the Monsters.
Was it Rise of the Monsters? Yeah, Rise of the Monsters. Yeah.
The last time I talked to Ron, he said he would love to get the crew back. He'd love to get some money together and shoot part 2. He would like
now. The problem with that, the suit is MIA, so they would have to either
the ZillaFoot suit.
It would have to be remade.
Yeah, unless they can get it back from the guy who has it, unless he destroyed it. Which do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to hold off on that?
You know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll talk about. I'm trying to decide. Do we want to talk about how you guys got involved, or talk about the movie itself first?
I think.
What if we sandwich it? Talk about the movie a bit, then we could kind of talk about the story of how it happened, and then how we got involved.
All right,
and then kind of the outcome and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the movie itself first, or the origin first?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, how did this movie come about? We've been kind of dancing around it a little bit. How did this movie come about?
Danny, do you want to take this, or do you want me to explain it?
Oh, man. You know what? You go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead.
If I miss something, tell me.
I'll jump
in. Back when probably press for King of the Monsters started, so back in 2018, Ron Bonk reached out to, is it Mark Polonia, right? Mark?
It was, is it the
Andrew?
The director? It's Anthony.
Anthony's
the director, and then his brother Mark is in it.
Yeah.
Yes, so Anthony's the director, and I got things to say later on about that, but yes, Anthony.
So Anthony is related to Mark and the other Polonias, obviously, who are famous in the underground independent filmmaker circuit for making.
These guys are no joke. These guys, I mean, Mark's been doing movies since underground indie backyard movies since the 80s. He's directed more shark movies than any other living human being. It's like I'll have more to say about that, but yeah, these guys are no joke. If you've seen, I feel like these guys are responsible for most of what you find on Tubi. It's probably come from them.
Them in the asylum.
Them in the asylum. Go on ahead, Elijah.
So Ron reached out to them, said, "Hey, here's I think it was $1,500. I want you to make a kaiju suit and just shoot some effect stuff and make a short film." That's what they did. This is where the drama comes in. Do we want to talk about the drama, or do we want to jump that part and come back to that?
Let's jump it for now, and then we'll jump back in as we continue to sandwich things as we progress through the conversation. Yeah.
So he shot it. The footage was there. It was 90 minutes. No, not 90. It was 43 minutes long, right?
It was under 45 minutes. It was, or maybe 50 minutes, 40 or 50. It was.
So this was filmed in 2018, you say?
2018, late 2018, early 2019. It came out on the SRS Vimeo. Came out there in 2019 for people to watch, just titled ZillaFoot.
Okay.
And I think
I don't know if that
wasn't
still there or not.
I think they took it down. Wasn't that the version with it still had the scientists, right? Scientists and the monsters, but that was it, if I remember correctly.
It had scientists, it had monsters, it had the not Gotengo. Some of the scenes were in a different order. Pretty much everything with the quote unquote main cast of characters was there, the leads, and a couple of scenes with the scientists. And that's about it. It was about half the movie it ended up eventually becoming.
That's interesting because one of the reviews I looked at claimed that parts of this movie had been filmed in 2014.
Some of it was. Some of the footage was actually shot, according to Ron, 2015 was what I heard. But 14 could be could be a thing. So yeah, some of the footage was shot at this point right now at the time of this recording in 2022, 7+ years ago, and definitely a while before the movie was actually, not just finished for Vimeo, but ultimately finished for home video release, which is the version we're talking about. So this movie has been in production for a very long time. And I think the actor footage was shot earlier, and then the Polonia suit stuff was shot later. I believe that's the order.
I need to correct myself. It was $300 he was giving. He wanted $1,500.
Wow.
Oh, that's a lot less.
I get the two numbers mixed up. It was $300 was the budget for the 45-minute what they needed, $300 for, which was basically the suit. Everything else was just kind of what they had.
Yeah, basically the title monster in this looks like King Kong and Godzilla had a baby.
And Bigfoot somehow got involved with that. There's three.
Yeah, because they don't call out Kong. They say there's a soldier who and this is his acting style. It's like, oh my gosh, it looks like a Godzilla and Bigfoot, ZillaFoot, sir.
Which is funny because the aliens had already named him that. So the aliens came up with the name independent of the human character who arrived at the name through different means.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if this is supposed to be a parody or not. Well, because sometimes it feels like a parody, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, there's a reason for that. The footage that was originally part of the 40+ minute version was tongue-in-cheek, but not a parody. The footage that was commissioned from fans and from viewers, some people took that into some wacky directions. So you end up with a film that bounces back and forth wildly between this is a joke and, not taking it seriously, but more seriously than a Mexican wrestler getting flattened by a falling building.
Oh,
yes, that does happen in this movie.
Yeah, that happens in this movie. Anyway, let's go back to the story that you were telling, Elijah. So there was the 40+ minute version.
Mm-hmm. And then the drama happened and it just sat there. And then my theory, I don't know entirely, but my theory is when Ron started doing kaiju films with Rigo, Raiga, Howl from Beyond the Fog, Attack the Giant Teacher, that he realized I'm sitting on this. I need to market it, use it. It's just sitting here on a website collecting dust. So that's when he took it, reached out, did a casting call, asked for help in completing it.
Yeah. And when is this?
This would be late 2019, early 2020. I think.
Got it.
This is 2020. This is around 2020.
Okay. I know it was like winter time. Mm-hmm. So it had to be like January 2020. At least for me, the bookend of filming. Right?
No, it was a little bit later than that. It was later in 2020 because it was still it was close to the winter. And the reason I actually know this is because, check this out. And this is funny. And this is kind of I'm jumping ahead just a bit and I'll talk more about this later, but I shot my footage for this thing on an iPhone 12 that I got for Christmas in 2020. And I shot it in early 2021. So that's how I keep the time straight in my head.
I have.
Are you going back through your emails there?
Oh, I
Right.
could do
Let's
that.
cover for Elijah while
Oh.
he's looking up some info.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Sure. So, yeah, what more of the story do you know about this after that? So there's a casting call put out. They're saying,
Casting call,
and I kind of
yeah.
remember this. They're saying, "Hey, we want to finish
finish our
this movie.
Yeah. We got to get it done."
Making.
And we were basically, it was mostly done through Facebook. And I think it was entirely done through Facebook, actually. And Ron put up a post, said, "We got this movie. It's unfinished." His words, not mine. "It's unfinished, and we want to finish it, and we need your help." So the call was put out to fans to contribute and basically shoot their own scenes based on outlines or just kind of concepts or even just some original stuff that the fans thought of. Just people who liked independent movies, liked kaiju movies. If you've got the chops for it, if you just want to have some fun, which is the camp I fall into. I'm not an actor by any stretch, but I just
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know that argument's getting kind of flimsy,
Really,
but,
Mister? I was in an audio drama.
I know. Well, yeah, I guess I was in an audio drama, wasn't I? No,
Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla. No, I just like having fun, man. It's all in good fun, and I saw this as an opportunity to get in contact with Ron, whose work I really, really appreciated through SRS. This was a couple years after they'd started releasing independent kaiju films, and I became a big champion of what Ron was doing. And I'm like, my gosh, like stuff like Shinpei Hayashi's work on Blu-ray in America, that I never thought I'd see that. It's so off the radar, just it's like off the radar in America.
Right.
And he's giving these things, nice, crisp, clean releases. And I love what SRS does, and I will support them. They're great. And, same with any other company that will release these things on home video. I love that it's being done, but the focus on the low budget indie stuff, because I'm a big fan of low budget indie kaiju films, that was really special to me. And so when this came up, I thought, why not? I'll just give it a shot. So I reached out to Ron, and we talked back and forth a little bit. That's the first time I'd actually talked to him, just conversationally over messages. And he threw out a couple of scenarios. He said, "Do you have any military uniforms laying around your home?" And I said, "I do not. I do not have that." And he threw out one or two other scenarios, and they line up with things that other people eventually did do for the movie. And finally, he came to the podcaster. He said, "Can you do podcasting?"
You play a podcaster. You are me.
Hello,
not literally me, but
there it is. I'm Nathan. But no, I could have done that. I could have been like, "Hi, I'm Nathan Marchand."
I'm amazed, considering how many of your friends are podcasters. I'm amazed you didn't just parody one of them.
No, I was treating it like a soft pilot for my own spin-off podcast. I'm just kidding. That's not true. That's a joke. But yeah,
let me look up your scene. I took notes on your scene. I took notes on both of your scenes.
Good. So the scene, and we'll talk. I mean, do we want to talk about our scenes now, or do we?
Oh, yes. Actually, all I wrote on yours, Danny, is Danzilla, huh? You play a podcaster on TV, eh?
Good note, Nate. Thanks for that. Very insightful.
Also, I wrote something that you told me about, which I'll let you explain about your scene.
Yeah, we'll get there as we move through the movie chronologically, but that's how I became involved. I saw, it was about as simple as can be. I saw the Facebook post, I reached out, I figured out what scene I was going to do. I was not given a script. I was basically just told, "Here's the outline of what your character's talking about, and go do your thing." And I did, and it was incredibly fun to do.
So I have to ask, were you had your laptop in that scene? Were you just reading? Did you write something up and you were just reading the script?
See, it's real. Okay, you know what? Let's just talk about our scene since we're here. So
yeah, we're here. We may as well. Unless Elijah, you had some more to tell us about the origins.
I mean, I could talk about how I got involved, but we're up to.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, let's hear how you got involved. We just heard Danny's.
So I saw the post. I was a little like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? I was kind of on the edge. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, I am wanting to be a filmmaker. So I didn't have it at the time. No, I did. I was working on getting some certificates in film and audiovisual stuff and whatnot. So I saw it as an opportunity to just do something tiny, something small that could be fun. So eventually I reached out, I was like, hey, I'm interested. And he was like, awesome, I'll add you onto the list. So I think he had a list of everybody he wanted to work on it. And then I waited, like, I think it was 3 weeks. I think it was a 3-week wait period. And then he messaged me and said, hey, I want you to work with this guy. I'll send you his info if you can reach out to him. And from there, I got linked with John Milgore, who previously played Konga in Konga TNT.
Really?
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
which was really cool. He also directed Ouija Shark,
Oh,
and he just did the sequel to that. So that was pretty fun, getting involved with somebody who has done kaiju and monster movies and whatnot. So then he reached out to me, John did, and we talked about it. And I actually have the actual quotes Ron said here. He said, I was thinking of having you both be skywatchers, spotting this object coming into the atmosphere and crashing. Brief stuff. You can speculate what it is, meteor, UFO, talk about it crashing. Then at the end, just note, like, we're picking up something else at the crash site. And then it cuts to the aliens inside the ship. So then he and I went back and forth. He was like, I'll write up a script. We'll do that. And then you can film your scenes, send them to me. I can edit them and go from there.
Right.
So then it was just scheduling how to do that and me actually getting and doing it. So.
Right. Were you given a script?
Yeah. So John and I decided we should do a script. We kind of took a very serious,
I noticed,
look on this. I even did a storyboard. I storyboarded out what I wanted. I took this so serious. I had my friend who had an iPhone 12, I think.
Oh, I'm noticing a pattern.
I was directing him. I was like, okay, I want you to do this with the camera. I want this kind of motion. And so we went all in on it. We talked about what I should have on my desk. And then I did some research into we were essentially conspiracy theorists. So I kind of did some research into what I should make my desk look like. So I went kind of the opposite direction of Danny. I was like, I'm going to do something so serious here that it's going to be great.
I mean, coming on the heels of, that opening sequence with a movie that literally starts with, in the beginning, God created man, then man created war.
Very Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just like, well, he's technically not wrong.
Well, I didn't know. Detected. I had no idea that there was going to be so many different. I was under the understanding that there was a clear vision for this.
Did you forget this was for SRS?
Oh man,
I take cinema very seriously, man. So I went into this thinking,
ZillaFoot is cinema. You heard it here first, kaiju lovers. ZillaFoot is cinema.
I heard it was in Scorsese's top 10. Oh yeah,
this is true.
Look it up.
This is very true. So like nobody told me that this was supposed to be a joke. So I went in, I was like, I hope I'm good enough for this. Like I was stressing over it.
I hope I'm good enough for ZillaFoot.
Yes, I did. I was freaking out. Like I reshot my stuff 3 times. I did 3 different takes of my stuff. Because I was like, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. This isn't good enough. Okay, here you go, John. I hope this is good enough.
People out there who are looking for somebody to storyboard and work on movies, this is your guy. You want this guy. He reshot a scene for ZillaFoot 3
times.
This is the kind of intuitiveness you need.
By the way, when I purchased this, I was actually kind of excited when I got it here on the island because this was Elijah's face reveal.
It was.
It's true.
This was his face reveal. This kid would not let me see his face. We've podcasted together. We've done so much together. I didn't know what he looked like until I watched this movie. And I'm like, oh, he's a cute little boy.
No comment. Actually, that brings up something. That brings up a funny memory that I have to share, Nate.
What was that, Jet? Great. Now Jet says he apparently needs to be Elijah's bodyguard, if I understood him correctly.
I completely sympathize with Jet on this one.
Yes.
So this Elijah's on board. This brings up
I'm afraid Jet is going to punch me for making that comment.
Well, I mean, what you have to admit. There it is. So this reminds me of something that I have to bring up, and that is the fact that I pranked you with this movie, Nate.
Yes, you did.
You didn't, because I shot the footage and I kept it to myself for however long it took to get it out, just because I knew that, because then you reached out to me a few months later and you said, Dan, you're not going to believe it. You heard of this movie ZillaFoot? This is after I've shot my stuff. And I said, yeah, I think I've heard of that. And you said, our friend Elijah's in it. How crazy is that? And I said, yeah, you know someone famous who's in a movie. How about that? And then I kept it to myself because I knew you were going to get the movie to watch it because Elijah was in it, if for no other reason. And then you were going to see me in there and you were going to go, what? Daddy! That's exactly what happened too. So I literally I pranked you with the motion picture. I pranked you with the whole movie.
Although you want to know what's funny? I think I try to remember if I saw your name in the credits or not.
You saw my name. You saw my name in the credits.
Saw your. I think that's what it was. And then the funny thing is, knowing nothing about this movie, I thought you were the kid with the Mothra versus Godzilla shirt and the hat.
You thought that was me?
I thought that was you for a minute when I was watching. I was like, wait, is that Daddy? If I squint hard enough, it looks like Daddy.
All bet. I was the handsome romantic lead in the yellow shirt. That was me.
Well, I don't know about romantic.
No, there's very little romance in this film.
There's more just lots of banter and disrespecting of each other and accusing the girl of sleeping her way to the top and
horrible green screen.
And horrible green screen.
What's worse,
and
the sexist jokes to the green screen. Let's be real.
and supposedly and I can't tell if the bad ADR is meant to be a joke about bad dubbing or not.
It is one. Okay,
it's a joke.
It's supposed to be. They're supposed to be mimicking badly dubbed movies. So
because sometimes it's not ADR'd. There's sometimes you just hear the onset audio and it sounds horrible.
It's a joke, but it is not a consistent joke.
Again, nobody told me. I didn't know. Because John and I filmed our stuff and we did it and he color graded it and it was great.
You had a panning shot, man. Like your camera panned in your scene.
Yours was just a static shot, Danny.
No, mine. No, I was not up to Elijah's level. So here's
Elijah might have had the best cinematography in the entire movie.
No, I think he did.
It's like his scene. His scene is a masterpiece of cinema. In the beginning, you know what it is, Elijah? You know what the problem is? If people watch this movie, you set the bar too high. Like, you set the expectations for this movie so high that when people keep watching it, they're like, what the frick is this crap? Why didn't this Elijah kid direct this movie?
I didn't know we were going to be the first people either. Like, I put the movie in, and all of a sudden our scene starts, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the second person on screen. What's going on? And I'm like, okay, so maybe this will be pretty good. Like, all right, let's see where this goes from. And it was like, what happened? Why did I not get the memo? What's wrong with the dubbing? Why is it horrible? Oh, God.
What have I gotten myself into?
Elijah,
you had this you had this moment where you're like, what have I done? Right?
My career has been torpedoed before it's even begun. Good. Okay, Elijah, did you watch the 40-minute version before you watched the new version?
No, I went in completely blind. I was like, no,
because
nobody told me anything. I didn't have a link. I didn't have anything. I just was like, I'm gonna try my best. We'll see if I'm good enough for this. And then I'm like,
if I'm good enough for ZillaFoot.
And then I found out that I was more than qualified to do it, because I'm also I've done acting. I have won awards in acting, so I know how to act. I've had acting training.
Yeah, and you are quite possibly the best actor in the movie as well. Like I said, your scene comes on and you set the bar. And then after that, I was just like, I'm disappointed now because why didn't Elijah direct this whole movie? It would have been a masterpiece of schlock cinema.
And then you got to my scene and it got better again, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I got it. So here's my story.
You were slipping into your room voice right there.
Oh, there he is. We're talking. Oh, there's a competent director, Mr. Tommy Wiseau. You're
slipping into Tommy Wiseau slightly there. What is wrong? Did you like my scene?
No. That's how I shot my scene, huh? You must be kidding, aren't you?
I did not hit her. I did not. Hi, ZillaFoot.
Hi, ZillaFoot. It's a big old kaiju, the baby face. Anyway, so here's the okay. No more. Go away, Tommy. We love you, Tommy, but go away, Tommy. So here's what's up. So I watched the 40 some odd minute version first as homework. So I expected the weird, it got weirder because of all the other scenes that people shot. It made the film considerably more, I'm going to politely use the word disjointed, but
unwatchable.
Wow.
I don't know about unwatchable. Disjointed, I would say hodgepodge might be another good way to describe.
This is less a movie and more a series of scenes. That
basically to explain what we're talking about here, because it feels like even if you just look at the original footage, because I can see where the new footage starts and where it ends, having not seen the 40-minute version, and even that has a gazillion characters in it, and because we got the reporter girl who supposedly slept her way to the top. Her ex-boyfriend who she's dragging along to go investigate cryptids or something like that for a big story. We have 3 scientists who are trying to investigate things that are going on. We have invading aliens who made ZillaFoot as a bioweapon. And then they kill 2 of the scientists and kidnap one and turn him, I guess, into a mind-controlled slave, I think.
Yeah, they find a dinosaur spider.
And then there's a dinosaur spider thing that looks like the Shockerus from Return of Godzilla, except it got bigger.
It looks like a Shockerus that's been digested. Let's just say
or something. And I'm like, what the frick? In a scene that I think might have been an homage to Jurassic Park with like horribly green screen dinosaur skin on a pile of dirt.
I thought it was an homage to that's a big pile of.
That's what I mean. To Jurassic Park. Yeah, and so they're like going around doing stuff. You got the scientists, you got the aliens, and I think
there's a plot in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a plot in there somewhere.
It's clearer in the shorter version before all of the additional Facebook fan scenes were edited in because we were. I mean, that's what we were padding this thing out. This was the MST3K. Only love pads the film. That was us. We were padding the film. We were the love in this scenario.
I see a logic in it because I think it's supposed to be these are people on the internet reacting to the events unfolding.
There's something resembling something adjacent.
Oh, and there's the military guys too. We have we have soldiers that are at a military base that looks suspiciously like somebody's attic.
It was that was a Facebook scene. That was a Facebook added scene. Gosh.
Yeah, I love how they tried to give those guys an arc, and we have a scene that is supposed to be dramatic, and one guy says, "Sir, before we go, I'd like to call my wife. And then there's dramatic music playing, and then it suddenly cuts as the guy puts his hand, as the commander puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, says, "No." Scene over. Like, okay.
I thought that makes me laugh. Like, that's a funny line. I guess since we're talking about funny lines, and then I am actually going to tell my story, Mr. Interrupticus, but we got to talk about the scuba scene.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, God.
The scuba scene.
We got to talk about
what even is the scuba scene was when I watched the movie the first time. The scuba scene was when I realized this movie's off the rails.
That's when I realized I made a mistake.
You committed career suicide right there. So again, I'm assuming I'm gonna go out on a limb here, dear listeners, and say that you have probably not. Very few of you have seen this movie. Like, listen, like both of these guys are face palming right now. I'm gonna take over for a second. The scuba scene
is this movie? But just so everyone knows, is this available in any other form other than the physical media you can still buy on SRS?
On
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
You can't watch it on Prime?
On Tubi as well. It's free on Tubi.
It's free on Tubi, okay.
Which Tubi? That's what I want to know.
You could start a whole podcast dedicated to finding random crap on Tubi.
I've thought of doing
Tubi Cast.
Yes, Tubi Cast. Or you could just call it random stuff I found on Tubi, But anyway, you were saying.
So the scuba scene is literally just a bunch of mismatched stock footage of divers diving around a reef, and then the monster attacks them. And it's not footage that was. Kind of. It was not footage that was shot for this film. This is stock footage as heck, is what this is. And in the original version, it was just a bunch of quiet footage of people swimming. And then they would suddenly change uniforms because they switched to different stock footage sources. And then ZillaFoot comes out of, after you've seen coral reefs and sharks and turtles, he comes out of a lake, which I find hilarious. But anyway, so in the new and improved version, you can hear the air quotes. It's fine. Of this scene, they got some of the Facebook fans got on board, and including Raph and Shoma and a couple of other people who the fandom might be familiar with, and they dubbed the scuba divers as basically the most metatextual scuba divers ever, and they turned it into a joke. It's like, we're here to dub this. Oh, we're just swimming. Nothing could possibly happen to us. And then they'll make jokes about we need to kick this guy out of the dubbing studio. We were hired to dub this scene, and we're going to do a good job. Gosh darn it. And it's kind of brilliant in a way. It's completely ridiculous, and it's completely incongruous with the rest of the film. Because again, a lot of the moments that were sent in by fans are parody. They are ridiculous. They make no sense within the context that was originally intended for the movie. But this is the only time that, the fourth wall does not exist in this sequence. There is no fourth wall.
Because when I was watching it, my reaction was, I don't know if this is incredibly stupid or if it's absolutely brilliant. I can't decide. Is that going to be one of the memes I'm going to have to make for this? Why not both?
I suppose it must be now, sir. Yes, there it is.
ZillaFoot, incredibly stupid or absolutely brilliant? How about both?
Why not both? So, okay, I'm going to backtrack and I'm going to tell my story about my scene. And then we can try to piece together something else from this.
Yeah, which it should be noted, Elijah, you filmed your scene in your bedroom, the very bedroom that you are broadcasting from right now. Giant fish on the wall and everything.
Fish. I don't remember was the fish in the movie? I don't think there's a bad.
I remember the fish being in the movie, but maybe I'm thinking. No. Maybe I'm thinking. No. No. Maybe I'm thinking of your.
No, yeah, it does. It does appear because of the pan shot.
Oh, okay.
Because I track myself because I'm entering through the door, and the camera follows me.
What were you eating? You had food. That was one of your character's quirks. You're like,
I was told to have a bag of chips and soda. Now, here's the thing: I don't drink soda, so I got a thing of Sprite, but I never drink it. It just sits there, I have a bowl of Lay's potato chips that I just
I was just saying, you actually had a developed character. He had quirks and characterization. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Phil, you were a podcaster in your Godzilla nest.
Yes, my kaiju cave.
Yeah, your vinyl nest.
The vinyl nest, which is where I am broadcasting out of right now. It's typically where I do recordings and live streams when I'm not flying on Pteranodon robots across the Pacific to Monster Island.
Like you did recently to talk about dinosaurs.
Oh yes, yes indeed, man. That was a fun time.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, Michael. But anyway, I shot the scene in here because again, I watched the earlier version, so I saw the weird dubbing jokes they were making and the fact that it was not a parody but tongue-in-cheek, and so I decided I was going to shoot my scene tongue-in-cheek. I was going to try to be like overly serious and then switch to it kind of being funny and then end the scene on kind of that's how I planned it. Again, I planned all of it myself. I didn't talk to Ron or anybody else to plan out the scene. I was told, you are a podcaster and you're talking about the Ultra Squad commander coming back to fight the monster, which is I will get into that because there's something weird about that I'll get into in a sec. But basically all I was told was the guy got sucked into another dimension and he's come back and you're reporting on it to your listeners because you're excited that he's back. And I said, cool, I can do that. So I was about as technologically unprepared for this as you could imagine. I actually, when I agreed to do this, I did not yet, sorry, Ron, I did not yet have my new iPhone. And I had no indication that I would be getting one. It was actually a family present for Christmas. And I got this really nice, I was prepared to go and drop money on a nice camera because I wanted to invest in one anyway for filmmaking purposes. It's something I'd like to experiment with one of these days. And I got an iPhone 12 for Christmas and it's got a really nice dang camera, but I didn't have a tripod. I didn't have anything to put it on. So what you don't see in that sequence, which is basically it's a static shot facing me at my little drafting table with a bunch of Godzilla toys behind me. It took me forever. That it was my phone propped up on a stool and a pile of pizza boxes. It was just yeah.
I wish you had taken a behind the scenes photo.
I should have. I could literally, you know what? Give me a couple weekends and a few runs to Pizza Hut. I could recreate it and take a picture. It's fine. No, but it took me forever to get the shot right where I wanted it. I had to basically start filming and then go sit down in my chair for a couple seconds, mess around and then stand back up, go around the table and then hit stop recording. I didn't actually record any lines when I did that. I just wanted to see if it was aligned right because I couldn't see. I shot it by myself. I didn't have anybody operating a camera. And so I just kept shooting it and reshooting little tests to make sure that the angle was right. It fell over a couple times. I could not get that phone to stop falling over. It was ridiculous. I probably should have just driven 10 minutes down the road to Best Buy and purchased a tripod, but I was determined. It was about as DIY as you can get. And I finally got
like
my
one
angle.
Of these.
I
have a weird, funny little tripod thing that I have used for the phone to make some bonus content on the socials. For the podcast.
Sure is a cool tripod that you're holding that the listeners can't see, Nathan. There you go.
Yes, I know, but I thought I would flaunt it.
Yes,
it like a fish.
But I was also going to say, Elijah, as you're telling that story, he's just sitting there judging you because he's like, I put so much effort into mine.
Look,
it's cinematography.
Look, the listeners can't see this, but I tracked down. This is the script. It's in proper formatting.
It's like it's a script, my man. It's an actual script. Listeners, it's a real script. Like it's laid out like a professional.
We went all in. We went all in. For nothing.
Listen, you're here talking to Nate about it. That is something. It's not.
Yes, and as I said, I think this is only, as far as I know, the second podcast to talk about it, and we're already making a superior episode because I actually am talking to the people who worked on it.
Yes. So, okay, the rest of my sad tale of pizza boxes and trying really hard. I did not write a dang thing. I ad-libbed the entire scene. and I set up the camera so that it would be filming the back of my laptop, which I don't believe was even turned on, or I had like an empty document or something, just to look like I had something there. And I put a couple of fun things in front of it. I got my robot monster plushie, just because I wanted some representation for my man Roman. I put one of the new Pulgasari Mondo figures in the frame, just because I thought, well, somebody's gonna see that and go, dude, it's Pulgasari, man. That guy knows his stuff. Like, dude, I love that movie. It rocks. And someone's gonna see Robot Monster and say, dude, somebody likes Robot Monster.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to get over the fact that apparently things like Rego and Raiga and Gappa exist, and Konga TNT all exist in this universe, but Godzilla and everything else is not. This universe is weird.
Godzilla was too expensive. He's hanging out with Hal from Beyond the Fog. So the
Nebula.
Okay. Basically, Nebula. Yeah, he's hanging out with that same ballpark. He's hanging out with Nebula. So again, I didn't write anything for this sequence. I shot my scene probably 3 or 4 times until I got one I liked, and because I flubbed a line in one and I had to get up because I was determined to get one shot. I wanted to do it in one shot. I didn't want to have to edit it. I wanted it to be kind of a fly on the wall thing of me just sitting there. You don't see me actually, typing anything. It's the back of the computer, but it's a fly on the wall of somebody recording a podcast. And I thought, I'm going to act like really giddy about it and really excited about it. Oh my gosh, the Ultra Squad Commander is back. Like I'm just a nerd geeking out. I threw in a couple of weird YouTuber terms that I don't use in my own life.
Please, like and subscribe.
And I even threw in a sponsor joke because I figured I could. And it was all ad-libbed. I just ran through it a couple different ways, flubbed one, and then picked the one out of the ones that did work, that worked best. The problem is I kept looking around the room. I didn't have any one thing to focus on. I should have had something because I kept looking down at my computer, and it looks for all the world like I'm reading lines off my computer.
It does.
It really does. So I'm sure everybody watching that scene thinks, oh, he's just reading his lines. And I actually wasn't. I didn't write any lines, but I can't.
So
is your character? It's out the world now.
Is your character's official name Danzilla? Because that's how you introduce yourself. So it's like the Danzilla show. I'm waiting for this podcast to actually exist.
So I'm saying this like it's anything approaching serious, but it was kind of an in joke with me because years ago I mean years ago, like prime Kaiju Cast days when there were like 2 Godzilla podcasts. I thought I'll start a podcast and I'll call it the Danzilla Show. And I thought it's all these years later, it's just stupid enough that I can make it a joke in this movie. And my name even to this day is like, if you go on Twitter, my name is Danzilla93. That's something that popped up in the forum days, and I've used it just kind of continuously. And I thought, you know what, this is a fun way to like kind of pay tribute to that and actually give it some context and like give like this weird, childhood idea that popped into my head however many years ago. Now it actually exists somewhere.
Right.
I actually set it up
somewhere.
It's locked in somewhere.
So let me get this straight. We have Danzilla and Elijah Skywatcher.
Skywatcher number 2. In the script it is Fox, and they call me Fox in the movie, but
Fox Skywatcher.
Fox Mulder. Anyway.
Fox Skywatcher sounds like somebody who should hang out with your boy Buckaroo Banzai.
I love Buckaroo Banzai. I'd love to hang out with him.
That would be great.
Now, so I should probably admit to something. I did so.
Oh no, we got an MIFV exclusive here.
So I decorated everything. If you look on the computer screen, it's also got radars and all of this.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
On the right-hand side, and my phone's sitting there too, I have the script on my phone and on the computer screen too.
Oh, okay.
So I can read off of both, and I can look like I'm looking at multiple items.
That's really smart. Like, that's actually legitimately really smart. I'm pretty sure that's how Brando learned his lines toward the end.
So what you're saying is all Elijah needs is cotton balls to put into his mouth.
Well, I had chips in my mouth instead.
Oh, true. He's
Now-
Brandoing hard in this movie.
I will
Isn't
say,
that how Brando learned his lines for Dr. Moreau? Or am I thinking of a different movie? I don't know. We're going off the rails a little bit. Keep talking, Elijah.
I will say, there was one thing I ad-libbed. Everything else was on script because I liked the script. At the end, I get up and I'm like, I say, it's been 2 years almost. Let me try and think.
Got it
I have
from
the script right here.
I was gonna say, what are you doing?
God.
Just pull up the script. There you go.
So I say, that's great. Some Skywatchers we turned out to be. I'm done. And I get up and I walk out and the camera follows me and I eat some of my chips and I go, I think. And then I say, I can get better chips somewhere else. And I leave.
That is what you said. That is exactly what you said.
And
it was so matter of fact, too. It was just, you're really disappointed in those chips.
that line right there was the only ad lib I did. And that was my attempt at adding a little. To me, my tongue was firmly in my cheek. It was very firmly in the cheek. So I didn't want to go too funny and quirky, but I had to do a little bit.
Right. Now, Danny, there's one other thing about your scene you need to tell us.
Okay.
It's out of order.
It is not in the right place in the film that it should be in.
Don't you predict a lot?
Yep. He anticipated the coming of the Ultra Squad Captain, not Ultraman orange spandex dude.
So my scene has the dubious distinction of having been inserted into the film in the wrong place. So as initially presented, I can't get over this. It's so funny. As presented to me, this was supposed to be after he got sucked into the portal, and everybody according to the way that this was described to me, I saw it in my head as easily far more epic than what was
I wrote in my notes, this is not choreography. It's just two guys in cheap monster suits kind of like swinging around while holding each other. That's all it really is.
Or like just a very awkward ballet.
More like awkward ballroom, but
yeah, there you go. And out comes ZillaFoot, and then he's destroying things, and then out comes the commander, and he's going to carry on the fight. And that's what was described to me. So in my scene, I talked about, I can't believe that this giant hero guy showed up. The Ultra Squad, I think the Ultra Squad is involved in this, blah, 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 blah. And I said something cheesy about feeling hope for the first time in a long time.
Yes, you did.
Because again, I thought, like, how can I make this stupid thing just feel so like needlessly dramatic? Like it's genuinely affecting me. And then I switched from, I felt hope for the first time in forever. Anyway, like and subscribe, and now a word from our sponsor. And that's where I wanted the scene to end. So that all worked out fine. But the problem is, at the point in the film that the scene was inserted, the Ultra Squad has not been mentioned yet.
No, it's been mentioned. You just anticipated. Just anticipated the coming of the captain and attempting to fight ZillaFoot.
So apparently, I was cast as a definite podcaster and an apparent clairvoyant in this film. I am the Miki Saigusa of this film.
I was going to say Alex Jones, but okay, but
oh boy.
And this guy came out of the.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing that.
It came out of the river. And then I think there were frogs.
And those aliens and their chemtrails. The real patriots will know about the alien.
I'm not. I'm going to destroy my voice doing an impression of a horrible man. My gosh. But anyway, yeah, that to me is the icing on the cake. If they had put that scene where it was supposed to go, it wouldn't have been nearly as funny to me.
The thing is that there were already several clips that were interrupting the so-called final fight anyway. I mean, you know how people complained about Gareth Edwards cutting away in Godzilla 2014? Good Lord, this movie is... That's what this movie is when you get to the last fight.
It didn't used to be edited that weirdly. If I recall correctly, the 40-plus minute version didn't have all of that last-minute cutting, because if you think about it, the scenes with the human leads are where they're running around the city and things are exploding. Initially, the version I saw, most of that was pretty linear, and then the portal opens up and the commander comes out and it ends. And it did not end with a tease for a sequel. The original version did not end with a tease. That was one of a few different changes. One other change I wanted to highlight is the fact that in the original version, since I guess I'm the only one here who's seen that. So you know how the aliens are like almost impossible to understand when they speak?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's subtitles, but sometimes you can hear garbled English, and all of their scenes, except for the close-ups of their hands, are all like
Like a bad acid trip.
Yeah, they put in this effect that makes them kind of swirl around and everything.
It's directed by Yoshimitsu Banno.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were no subtitles in the original version. It was just scenes of weird alien sounds and people, like the aliens touching their weird glowy squishy things.
Kamen Rider Kuga style.
Yeah, there you go.
Except on the Kuga Blu-rays, you can actually have those parts subtitled.
Oh, here you go. There were no subtitles for that, so it was either like weird, distorted alien voices that are almost impossible to understand, or just silent scenes of aliens wandering around squishing things. It's very weird. So that's actually a legitimate improvement that I will give to the film.
Okay. But meanwhile, we have such just incredibly random scenes. We had the military part that I talked about, which included a guy who was from CRS, like a cryptid research something or other. And the guy is clearly just reading his lines from slightly off screen. And
now the military stuff, there was an error in the export because somehow in the sending of the footage, there was a frame rate issue that decreased.
I noticed that.
I saw that. Mm-hmm. I remember that now.
And I'm pretty sure it messed up their color grading too, because their color grading was also really
very
weird.
Murky.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, but those guys came back several times, which was kind of interesting.
They shot a lot. They shot a lot of footage. I have a feeling they actually shot more than they were perhaps asked to.
Right.
And, so that was
because they basically created a whole new subplot for this thing that never gets followed up on. But then, the other ones are just so incredibly random. You had the luchador reporter, and I'm like, what in the frick is this?
The government Skype session.
The government Skype session with like scientists and a
hadron collider guy, and that was funny.
And a clergyman who was reading from a very fake Bible.
Yeah,
little Sapo Blanco, and he keeps flubbing all of his reports, and then a building falls on him because.
Just because.
And then there was the Crimson Weirdo. It's this like a crooked cop who it's the same guy playing two different characters. It's a crooked cop who is holding a guy's dog hostage, and the other guy is wearing a robe and has a foam skull in his hand and a cane, and he says he's a wizard, and they're just arguing. But it is complete nonsense. I don't know why.
I can give you a little context for that. So that's Raph and Shoma, and the Crimson Weirdo is a recurring character that he has played in other places. Have you ever, Mr. Marchand, seen the fan-produced Gamera MST3K episodes that were put up on YouTube?
I have heard about it, and I am friends with the guy who was involved with it.
Okay, so in those, I highly recommend them because they're pretty darn funny. But in those shorts, the Crimson Weirdo, Raph's character, is the guy who sends them the movies. He's the stand-in for the Foresters for that.
Okay.
And he does the Crimson Weirdo, and the exact same thing, exact same getup, exact same staff. So he pops up all over the place because Raph's everywhere. He does all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
so
and he actually has lines that are direct references. Like it's like, I can't remember the lines from Godzilla 1985 because the monster steps on him. Zilla, because this whole ransom thing's happening in the middle of the ZillaFoot rampage.
And there's like the weird news thing. The news thing was part of the original footage, but it makes me laugh because they spelled kaiju wrong in Kaiju News Alert.
It's Kaiju. Kaiju. Yeah.
Oh, the editing in this. Oh, the sound mixing.
Yeah, there are some scenes that were clearly filmed at Christmas time in the original footage. All of these people are very Caucasian, but have Asian names,
They have
including
Japanese names.
there's
That's part of the tongue in cheek.
yeah. Well, one guy
looked
straight up looks like Stuart Galbraith, the guy who they meet up with later. Dresses like Stuart Galbraith. I just
is that you? Stuart. What were you doing in this movie, man? You're better.
And then we had another guy later who was supposed to, I guess, be like a YouTube host, and he was Eric Carter. I'm like, I got that reference. That's a bit of a deep cut.
Yep,
and he was the host of Mongo. Oh, God. And I will admit that was kind of funny because he's like, they need to deal with these monsters so they stop stepping on my house. And then he's like, crap. And then a monster steps on his house. I'm like, okay, that was a good setup and payoff there. I get that. It's still weird in context, but isolated, it's actually kind of funny.
It is. Like, that's the thing, is the individual scenes, like the weird guy who's playing with the toys on his lap and randomly has a Ultra Squad Commander toy.
Why? Who is he talking to?
He's talking to his mom, who's yelling at him from the other room, and then he's talking to himself.
But it looks like he's talking to the audience.
Because he can't listen. I'm not going to defend the competency.
Yeah, and I'm also pretty sure not Stuart Galbraith is carrying a toy sonic screwdriver because they have to use it to defeat ZillaFoot or something. But then there's no follow-up.
That's his beta capsule. So he.
It's his beta capsule.
So
he's the Ultra Squad captain. Is that what?
Oh, you didn't catch that? No, he's the Ultra Squad
because
captain.
This movie is bonkers and disjointed.
He drops it. That's it. Yeah, that's his transformation device. There's literally a scene where he lifts it up and hits the button and grows big.
I guess I missed that part.
Gosh, man, be prepared.
But it's a sonic. If it's a sonic screwdriver, I'm totally cool with this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this thing, and then it cuts to like all of a sudden back. So when he transforms, they're in the city, and then when he lifts up his beta capsule, quote unquote beta capsule, his sonic beta capsule, and transforms into his ultra version of himself. We'll call him Ultra Guy, Ultra Person, Ultra sentient life form. And when he transforms, he's suddenly in the middle of nowhere, back in the forest again. So he transported. Let me try that again. He transformed and then teleported. But wasn't ZillaFoot also
teleported?
Listen, I'm not gonna. There's only so much brain power I'm willing to. Like, the editing on this thing is just so. This thing was edited with all the delicacy of a sugar crazy toddler slicing up a magazine with safety scissors, man.
Basically, and also, the guy with the toys, his name is Jimmy. I can confirm that is not Mr. from NASA.
I actually put that down as a note while I was watching this, that there is a Jimmy in this movie. So you can.
He has confirmed that is not him.
You know what? I refuse to believe it until I hear it from Jimmy. If Jimmy tells me it's not him, then I'll believe it.
Yeah, I'll pass it along.
There's just so much going on in this thing. Have we even?
There's so much going on and a whole lot of nothing at the same time.
That's the thing, is that this movie is nothing but everything, but so much, but not a lot, but not enough, but way too much at the same time. Elijah, you were going to say something.
So at the end of this, I will explain ZillaFoot perfectly for everybody. I wanted to bring up that there's actually an alternate ending that got cut.
What?
So the original idea, maybe not the original, but one of the original end credit scenes was not going to be a setup for a sequel. That came after some thought. There's actually going to be
put into this.
What you say? Definitely before they put my scene in there, obviously.
There was actually going to be the return of your Skywatchers. We were going to do an end credits scene, possibly setting up more. We had talked to Ron about it, and he ended up going with because he had access to the good CGI and whatnot. That little test shot. I think it's a test shot from a student animator. So he went with that instead of the Skywatchers, but there was going to be an alternate ending that we definitely were planning to do. We didn't have a script yet, but we had started planning it.
Huh.
Interesting. And you know what? Like, I honestly would like to see a sequel to this. I really would. I really would. Because
the world needs Zilla. We need ZillaFoot. The world needs him. I made that meme.
Yes, we do. I remember that. And
honestly,
if
there's a sequel, I've already been told they want the Skywatchers back.
There you go. There you go. And I talked to Ron about it, and he said I'll have to be in contact with you. So you know what? The Danzilla show might get an episode 2. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll do. You know what? Be cool if I got to do some voice stuff for the sequel. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
You could do the voice of ZillaFoot. They were already stealing the Toho Kong or King Caesar. I'm not sure which roar that was.
Kong and King Caesar are the same roar, so it's But yeah, that'd be. I imagine he would sound like, I don't know, like I'm thinking like something deep and guttural from like an 80s cartoon. Hey, you know what? Dino saucers. Let's just make them sound like the bad guys. I'm gonna destroy the world. Yeah, like that'll be. Yeah, exactly. That'll be it. Like, bring me the Ultra Squad Commander. Like he's got a little bit of like a, I don't know.
You need to make it sound like Lord Tyrannus.
There you go. Here is ours. We're gonna
Eddie. Eddie. No, Eddie. I mean Eddie.
There you go. Like, people are unsubscribing from your show right now. I apologize. No, so at the end of the day, like this is a shining example of cinema. I think we all know the answer.
Yes.
That is the answer. But it's so earnest, you know. Like, listen, these guys have got together and made exactly one more movie than I've ever made. You know, and you know, as ridiculous as it is, as completely disjointed and like just I don't even know, as ZillaFoot as it is. I'm just gonna have
to.
It's
like I said, not the worst kaiju movie that SRS has released.
I don't know. This is something. It definitely ticked a box on my bucket list, which was to be A, in a kaiju movie one day, and B, to be in like a kind of a fun, cheesy Walmart bargain bin monster movie. Just like, I don't know. I like sitting down and watching some silly stuff, you know. Like I'll watch a weird, you know, bad shark movie, you know. I'll watch stuff like that. I've seen a lot of Polonia's other movies, you know, his weird shark movies. I've seen a lot of those, and they're not good. They're not trying to be good. They're just fun. And I have a love for movies like that, a completely ridiculous love for those. And I always thought it'd be fun. Like, yeah, you know what? I'd like to be in one of those. I don't take myself that seriously. You know, obviously. I can laugh at myself. Why not? You know, I technically have an IMDb credit now. You know, I am in a movie that you can get at a Walmart. I'm in a movie you can watch on Tubi for free, which is, you know, a reasonable price to charge. But it's like, I just had so much like legitimate fun with this. I didn't take it serious. I took parts of it seriously because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to not treat it like a joke, but I also had to have fun with it. And so this is something that it's definitely the kookiest thing on my resume. I will say that, but I just had so much fun doing it, and I would 100% do it again. And who knows, maybe I will get to one of these days. We'll see.
What about you, Elijah?
What specifically? That was a lot to go back.
Would you do it again? Would you be in ZillaFoot 2? We need ZillaFoot. The world needs him.
I'm waiting for the callback.
Ron's calling your people. Your people are calling his people.
Yeah.
Now,
what? A Fox Skywatcher. Yeah.
Skywatcher.
Yeah, I'm ready to come back.
Savior of the universe here, you know.
Exactly. Maybe I could do a little more in the sequel. Now that I have more film experience under my belt, maybe I could do something more exciting. Ooh, I could do some blacklight.
Ooh, there you go.
Blacklight.
Yeah, you will set the bar even higher for the sequel, and then everyone will be disappointed.
You know what? I'm going to make a prediction right now. I'm going to lock it in. Within the next 10 years, SRS will be releasing a Blu-ray and DVD of an entire movie that Elijah made. I'm locking it in. That is a goal for me as your friend, and it should be a goal for you as something you want to do. Like, I think you should go for it. Why not?
I'll just say I've been looking at some possibilities.
Yes, that's what I want to hear.
Yes.
Shoot for the stars, my friend. So now, you said you were gonna explain this movie?
Before that, I need to explain the drama and then
that's right. We
the
didn't.
final
Okay.
outcome. So
Popcorn ready, folks.
the filmmaker doesn't like this movie. Anthony hates this movie. He never got, according to him, he never got all the money he was told he was going to get. And then he found out that he wasn't going to get paid. And at that point, he was like, I'm done. Here, have this, I'm done. Now, it was just test effects, which this is why it's a little weird, because if it was just test effects, why did we have a full short film? So I don't know exactly what happened here, but Ron wasn't happy that Anthony did this. And then Anthony was like, well, here's what you get. You're not getting anything else from me. And then he apparently took the suit, burned it, possibly, and burned that bridge. Now, Ron says, and this is literally a he said, she said, so I'm not going to say which one's right, which one's wrong. This is just what I've been told. And Anthony actually wanted to try. He wanted to make something worthy of being a low-budget kaiju film. Ron wanted something funny, kooky. It's SRS Cinema. He directed House Shark. Ron isn't wanting high art cinema. So Ron wasn't happy with what Anthony was doing, and he wasn't going to give him the budget that Anthony was wanting. So when Anthony heard that, Anthony was like, well, I don't want to do this if you're not going to let me. He didn't want to put his name on something that wasn't up to standards of what he wanted. So then Ron took it, shelved it, and then later during COVID realized, hey, I could do something with this, and then created what we have as ZillaFoot. So this film has a lot of drama behind it. Money is a factor. Money is, like, I think what ruined this film from either having potential or having no potential. One of the two. Now, let me tell you why ZillaFoot is a film that talks about society perfectly. I've had 2 hours to figure this out, and I have it. So the movie was made by Anthony, who wanted to try. He likes kaiju, low budget stuff. He wanted to create something that was good. So you have his heart putting into this, wanting to make something a homage to classic cinema, classic kaiju cinema, like some kaiju fans do. Then you have Ron, who wanted something low budget, funny, cheap, like a lot of modern filmmakers. A clashing of the two types of filmmaking for kaiju, your serious stuff and your comedic stuff. When Ron got a hold of it, he decided to leave it up to the fandom. And this ZillaFoot is a perfect example of the kaiju fandom's current state. It's all over the place. You have a wide variety of different ideas. Some people want to do fourth wall breaking stuff. Some people want to do serious filmmaking. Some people just want to have fun. It's a perfect allegory for how the kaiju fandom is in its current state, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, because we can now see how crazy this fandom is, but that's why we love it.
Ishiro Honda. Okay.
What was that? Ishiro Honda weeps?
Ishiro Honda. No. I'm kidding, because that is actually full of a lot of interesting, worthy points.
This movie
is
an allegory
for the kaiju fandom.
For the fandom.
Yes.
You hold in your hands a metaphor manufactured by Sony.
No.
I earned that. Wow. You know what? Not only is this proof that anything can be an allegory if you squint your eyes and turn your head enough, but you know what? Kudos, because added depth to ZillaFoot is not something I thought I'd get out of this conversation. And yet, here we are.
May have just made the greatest ZillaFoot podcast ever.
I don't even think it's a competition. No, I'm just considering there's only a few have tackled it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to confirm that right
There's
now.
only two.
I'm
I
going
checked on
to-
Spotify. Kaiju Transmissions, and there's a smaller podcast that did it called the Sci-Fi Wise Guys.
Yep.
Cool. I will have
So
to
we
check
will
both of those
be-
episodes out.
We will
I have
be
listened.
the third.
A third.
And I can't
Third
really
one.
cover it on my podcast because that's kind of egotistical.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, everybody would ask why it's my top-rated film above every other kaiju movie. I don't know.
Truth
Because
hurts.
it's a metaphor.
'Cause
It's a metaphorical topic on the kaiju fandom. I think
Yoshi Mitsubano were still alive, he would love this film. Confirmed.
I'm going
There it
to
is.
I'm going to meme that. I'm going to take this cover and I'm going to make a meme and the caption will be "It's a metaphor."
It's
I think
a
I have a great
You know,
point.
I will put "It's a
I do too.
metaphor" signed Elijah Thomas.
There you go. So yeah, when you sign the Blu-ray for him, sign it. It's a metaphor, and then your name. That's what. Or an
I need
allegory.
both.
a metaphor.
Well, no, it's Elijah's metaphor. You could just write like Danzilla or something. I don't.
Can I write now a word from our sponsor? Sincerely,
Yes.
Danzilla. There you go. Something. Or-
Please like and subscribe. You know,
Please like and subscribe to a YouTube channel that doesn't
You know,
exist.
your podcast is all about enlightenment, and there's another E word,
entertainment.
entertainment. And I think I just gave you the perfect example for why this film is both enlightening and entertaining.
Well, I'm enlightened and entertained. I don't know if I can speak for everyone here, but man, I have been enlightened. I have been entertained. I could totally go sit and watch this movie again. I'm kidding. No, it's listen. Jet,
Yes.
Really? Top 10 MIFV episode because of Elijah? I don't.
now who's got the ego?
I'm disagreeing with him. The robot is out of his mind.
Oh, give yourself some credit. There's a fine line between not giving yourself enough credit and whoa, watch that ego. Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle, my friend.
Oh man.
Honestly, Jet, have you seen this movie? You really got to get on that. You really got to get on that. It's actually pretty darn good. We know what we'll have our people call your people, and we'll have a signed copy sent to you.
We should have it screened at the Carl Denham Theater.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we
with
should.
live in-person introductions by you and me, Danny. What do you think?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Do you have? We can put our handprints in the cement out in front of the theater.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
footprint,
I mean, I have heard discussion about having an independent kaiju film fest here on the island at some point. So
I'm on board. You know what? And independent kaiju filmmaking is such an interesting little subgenre within the subgenre, and it really ranges because you get stuff like Howl from Beyond the Fog, and then you get ZillaFoot, but like all kinds. It really does.
Dragon Lizard Lords of the Earth.
I'm waiting for that
of the Rings.
I'm waiting for that episode. I'm waiting for it. I want to see it. You think we've talked enough about ZillaFoot today?
I think we have.
I don't think we have.
We need to wrap up this.
2 more hours.
We are officially longer than the movie, so we're moving on.
But we are the only podcast to successfully explain why ZillaFoot exists.
This is true.
And to give you the inside scoop, I mean, honestly, I was not aware of all that. This just entered Pulgasari levels of crazy behind the scenes for me. This is on the list now. This is on the list.
Our episode's going to be in the reference links for the Wikizilla art page for this.
Yes.
I technically have the ability to edit that, so I might just go in and add it.
No,
There
make
you
somebody
go.
else do it. Make somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Bless
We love you,
them.
Wikizilla.
Bless them with the privilege of explaining and informing people on the lovely ZillaFoot.
Yes.
That sounded kind of weird.
A little bit.
Slightly. All right. We need to wrap this up before we reach ZillaFoot levels of editing or something here. Because
ZillaFoot. What does that even look like? ZillaFoot levels.
I don't know.
How do you measure that? Is ZillaFoot a unit of measurement?
Yes. This is officially 6 Zilla feet.
Is that like 2 feet together?
Ooh.
2 left Zilla feet.
I don't think that deserved the rim shot.
Nah.
Nice. Now we're cooking. That's a little bit more appropriate. Yeah,
Well.
so, I mean, how has ZillaFoot affected your brains? How is talking about it for however long we've been talking about it? Good Lord, that's a long time.
Yeah. More bad puns. Well, let's channel all of that energy to something far more productive, like the Patreon shoutouts. Travis Alexander!
Michael Hamilton!
Me!
Eli Harris!
Chris Cook!
Bex from Redeemed Otaku. Gorsh.
Damon Noise!
The SoCast!
Eric Anderson!
Ted Williams!
Winja the Ninja!
Brad Batman Edelman!
Tofu
Fury!
Ah, the adrenaline!
Oh, we needed to get all that energy out, I can tell.
ZillaFoot has done horrible things to our minds.
What has ZillaFoot done to our brains? I mean, look at Elijah here. The whole time we were doing that, he just reverted back to Fox Skywatcher. Look at him.
Guys,
he's going full method here. Method. I don't know.
Yeah, he's in full character right now. He's eating his Fritos.
Danny, you can't talk. You're a podcaster.
I think that you're supposed to talk. That's what podcasters do. I got you there.
Danzilla.
Danzilla. Okay, let's expedite this. Our brains are melting out of our ears.
We need to. We all need some sleep right about now.
I feel great.
We can tell. So, just so everyone knows, Kaiju, unfortunately, is coming to an end. But we're ending not with something chronologically. No, we're ending on what some would say is the greatest and possibly most important American monster movie ever made, although I would disagree slightly. Jurassic Park. Yes, we're going to talk about the competition for Monster Island. Sue me.
So you're going back in time to talk about... Okay, you're breaking chronology to talk about Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to be interested to see what the argument for that being a kaiju movie is.
I said monster. But...
I know, but somebody will ask. Just be prepared. Somebody be like,
well, I've already heard the infamous but epic argument about whether or not the dinosaurs are kaiju on Kaiju Weekly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is true.
Anyway, kaiju or not, listen, Jurassic Park is a freaking masterpiece and one of my favorite movies ever. I'm looking forward to listening to that one. That one's
fun. And I will have my friend Bex from Redeemed Otaku, one of the patrons we just shouted out, on for that, because besides anime, one of the things that she loves is Jurassic Park.
And it's the real Bex this time, right?
Yes, I will make sure.
Yeah, please
because
do. That
incidents.
was weird.
Also, my pseudo sister will not be happy if a fake one shows up again.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I got to keep you accountable.
I totally understand, sir. I totally understand. All right, and then after that, what? You have a message for me, Jet? Let me see. What is this? Are you serious? Well, guess what, guys? Since we talked about the competition at the end of Kaiju, I just got a memo here that says, Cameron Winner says, we must talk about Monster Island. As in the Asylum version.
Wait, the The movie Monster Island?
Yes.
The mockbuster
I thought we didn't talk about that. The fact that it even exists is due to a legal loophole. You know what?
Wait a minute. Yeah, is that so, okay? Are you going to do that one first or after Jurassic Park?
It'll be after Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Apparently, this is how the season comes to an end.
Which is weird because the last season ender was Yeti. I'm detecting a pattern here.
A little bit. I'm a tiny bit concerned here.
Listen,
but
this is no longer like twice as a coincidence, right? But after that, you start getting into pattern territory. This is starting to feel a little
basically. But if we're talking about something that got made due to legal loopholes, I've got just the guy for that. The Legal Action Team's famous lawyer, Raymond Martin.
I'm gonna
bring him on so he can help me figure out how this even exists.
You're gonna have Raymond on the show as an actual full-on guest. Now that's cool.
Yes.
That's cool. I was afraid I was gonna have to call him with the recent Emir thing. I was afraid I was gonna have to give him a ring. I thought I was.
I was a little concerned for you there too. Trust me.
I didn't think they were gonna be nice to me. But anyway, that's a discussion for another time.
That is definitely a discussion for another day. And while we still have some sanity left, despite what this movie has done to us. It's time for shameless self-promotion, so I will just quickly say, check out my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com, and check out Henshin Men, a podcast about the appreciation of Japanese superheroes and their high-flying and high-kicking adventures, and The Power Trip, a journey through the Power Rangers franchise that I co-host with the newly reappointed patron, Michael Hamilton, who just talked with us about Dino Saucers in a previous episode. We go through Power Rangers one season at a time. I'm done. Go.
I wouldn't want to interrupt Elijah chewing down on his Fritos there loudly into his microphone. I mean,
I'm back. There's like a good like
we've gone full ZillaFoot at this point.
No, I insist. You go first, Elijah.
Are you sure I should be speaking right now?
Not entirely, no, but I'm willing to take that chance. Besides, you're a movie star. You gotta. I know that the lifestyle's kind of getting to you a little bit, but you got to shape up a bit for the cameraman.
Oh well, apparently you're both movie stars, so.
Yeah, we're on IMDb, so we're automatically movie stars.
Hang on.
That's right.
Hurry up. We need to. Oh my gosh. Come on. But all right, Danny.
I'm
this
going
is already the most unprofessional episode ever. Give us your shameless self-promotion.
All right. Ladies and
While
gentlemen.
he's busy getting into character or going to his trailer or whatever.
I was getting a drink of water.
Okay, apparently he's back. All right, promote.
Go, Elijah.
Shamelessly promote.
You can find me on the Kaiju Conversation podcast, where you get to deal with this, but it's just me and one other person.
It's just me alone and one other person. It's past Elijah's bedtime, everyone.
And go for it. It's fun. We are a I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard right now.
You're almost
we
there.
are a bi podcast. Is that what?
We're a byproduct.
Elijah, just calm down and start over.
You got this. All right.
I'm gonna take one more sip of water.
Are you sure that's water and not vodka?
If it comes out his nose, I'm not convinced.
Okay.
All right. You can do this.
I'm sorry. All I can think about is how I did this on Henry's podcast too once.
We're a lot more fun though.
Yeah, because that one I was a little scared to talk about sex on, but we did on the green slime.
The sexiest kaiju movie ever made.
Okay. I got it out. I got the thought out of my head about that, so I should be good. Hi, I'm Elijah. I don't know if I should be talking.
Nope.
I probably shouldn't be. But you can find me if you enjoyed whatever this was that I am. You can follow me over to the Kaiju Conversation podcast. We are a bi-weekly approximately. We're monthly, but our schedule's weird, so we'll do like 2 episodes a month where we talk about a various amount of kaiju and tokusatsu films. Recently, we just uploaded Mothra vs. Godzilla as we journey through Godzilla, and we just uploaded the first episode in Ring, talking about the 1998 Ring. You can also follow us on Twitter at Kaiju_Converse or at Kaiju Conversation on Instagram, or look us up on Facebook and like us there. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at ET13 Productions on Twitter or on Instagram, or you can subscribe to either the YouTube channel for Kaiju Conversation or my YouTube channel, ET13 Productions on YouTube. I also have personal accounts if you want to look for them. That's on you. If you want to see what crazy stuff I talk about, go for it. But definitely check out the Patreon exclusive bloopers for this episode if you want to see what you're getting into.
Or, and hear me out on this, don't do that. If you don't want to be horrified, I'm just kidding.
This is where your money is going, patrons.
That's right. That's right. I hope you feel it's as worth it as we feel it is. Because I
yes,
quite.
And all of us write for the wonderful independent kaiju fanzine, Kaiju Ramen Magazine. If you haven't already, go to kaijuramenmedia.com and definitely check those out. We have all written articles. Danny and Nathan have done a great job with their articles. Truly outdone themselves. Definitely give them a read.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everybody needs to. I mean, I guess I'll go and I'll briefly say, yeah, I've worked for Kaiju Ramen as well, and my gosh, there's some just excellent articles on there. But Elijah covered that eloquently, so I will not repeat myself there. But my main claim to heavy air quotes fame is that I am the creator and author of the Godzilla Novelization Project, which is an ongoing serialized endeavor to do exactly what it sounds like, to create full-length English language novelizations for all the Japanese Godzilla films, and to share those books 100% free with any fan who would like to read them. They're being archived online. They're being published one chapter at a time. This year has been unfortunately a bit slow for getting work done, but by the time this episode hits your podcatcher of choice, there will be a brand new GNP short story out, and patrons already know a little bit more about it than the public does, but what I will say is that it involves Terror of Mechagodzilla. A brand new short story that involves Terror of Mechagodzilla. That is all I will say for now. Which is ridiculous because by the time this comes out, you'll know what it is because it'll be out. But you know what? Never mind. We're playing some temporal chess here. But yes, that's the next thing that's coming out. Got a couple more cool things planned for that. But yeah, if you've ever wanted to read the Godzilla films and wondered what that was like, definitely check out the project at GodzillaNovelization Project.com. If you want to follow along with the project and enjoy some just prime bad dad jokes and bad puns, you can follow along with the GNP on Facebook. You can follow along on Twitter. Danzilla93_GNP is the handle. If you have other things you want to ask me, if you want to write reviews, if you want to have a conversation, you want to tell me and just talk about monster movies, reach out to me at GodzillaNovelization@gmail.com. Send me an email. If you really like what you see, I also have a Patreon account. As low as $1 a month. It's pretty reasonable. And for $1 a month, you get a bi-weekly behind-the-scenes podcast, and then going up from
You're
there,
actually a podcaster?
I'm about to hit episode 50, Nathan. 50. My goodness. But yes, I know. I'm actually a podcast. I'm a pod, and I play one on TV, and I'm one in real life, apparently. But yeah, it's been really, really fun. It's called the Monster Musings Podcast. It's exclusive to patrons. It doesn't go out anywhere else, and you can listen to it for only $1 a month. And for $5 a month, you get stuff early. For $10 a month, I put your name in one of the books as a character. It's pretty cool. And the Patreon money is incredibly helpful. It's going to help me make merchandise. It's going to help me continue to get research material from Japan and eventually pay translators and people to do artwork and people to do narration for audiobooks, all kinds of stuff. So Patreon was important, and it's just getting more and more important to this project as time goes on. So yeah, if you're so inclined, definitely check that out and see if you find a tier that strikes your fancy. Other than that, you can hear me pontificating on all things kaiju on, just about every podcast. I've been on this wonderful show I don't know how many times. I've been on Kaiju Weekly. I've been on all kinds of different live streams. I'm all over the place, and it's so fun. I just love talking about this stuff, obviously. Even ZillaFoot. But yeah, I'm all over the place. I voice act. I put that thing down. He keeps waving it in front of me, listeners. He keeps waving the Blu-ray in front of me. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. No, but it's fun. It's fun. I voice act. I write academic articles and, do silly things and fun things and serious things. I'm all over the place, and I love all of it. What I don't love is Nate not putting down the Blu-ray. However, that is a little. There we go. Get it out of frame. I think it's time that we all stopped talking. And yeah, ZillaFoot, won't you? ZillaFoot.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already, order your copy of ZillaFoot on Amazon or on srs.com/shop and buy the Blu-ray from them, or buy the DVD available on Walmart, Amazon, and Target.com.
Yes, and SRS also has ZillaFoot t-shirts. So if you, for the giant hardcore ZillaFoot fan in your life, there is an apparel option. You can wear your love for ZillaFoot loud and proud on your person at any time. It's much simpler than duct taping the VHS to the back of your head. I've tried it. It doesn't work out. So yeah. Look for it in the nearest Walmart bargain bin near you.
There will be links in the show notes.
Yes.
The following podcast has not been endorsed, paid for, or advertised by SRS Cinema directly, and all of this is done through volunteer work. There is your disclaimer.
Offer void in California. Sorry, Californian.
Jet, cue the credits and get this train wreck over with.
Thank you for listening to the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast produced and hosted by Nate Marchand. If you want to join the discussion and be heard on the show, we'd love to hear from you. So email us at feedback@monsterislandfilmvault.com. Our website is monsterislandfilmvault.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Monster Island Film Vault, and on Twitter, where our handle is @TheMonsterIsla1. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok. Follow Jimmy from NASA on Twitter @NASAJimmy, and our many other colorful characters using the links in the show notes. The podcast logo was created by Tyler Souls from TylerDrawsComics.com. Our theme song is Wanderer on the Offensive, live edit by B33J, Sarax, Juan Madrono, and Nonsensical Lexus, which is a remix of Counterattack Battle with the Colossus and The Opened Way Battle with the Colossus by Koatani from the video game Shadow of the Colossus. All film and audio clips belong to their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended or implied. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or Podchaser to spread the word about the show. You can also support us by joining MIFV Max on Patreon. The Monster Island Film Vault is a Moonlighting Ninjas media production. Sayonara!